Hey, everybody, this is Larry. This is December 28th of the LeetCode Daily Challenge. Hit the like button, the subscribe button, join me on Discord. Let me know what you think about today's problem. It's another easy one, middle of the linked list. So this one's a little bit annoying if you haven't kind of done it or seen the trick. These problems I find very weird, just because I don't know, it's just such trivia at this point. And what I mean by that is that really is either you know it or you don't. So maybe just practice it. One thing I would say is with linked list problems, and I always say this, is just have pointers. And when you have linked lists, I think the hardest part, if you ask me, is about this idea about like what's a reference, what's a pointer, what's pointing at what, right? Feel free to draw it out. With enough experience and practice, you don't need to draw it out, and that's sometimes I do it on stream in that way, and maybe it looks too magical, but I've done a lot of years of drawing it out, so definitely don't feel bad or don't about doing stuff like that. Do whatever it takes to make sure you learn it correctly the first time, or at least the second time, or maybe the third time. But eventually, right? Because the thing is, if you kind of take shortcuts and just kind of gawk stuff, like just like if you there's just too much stuff to memorize at a certain point, right? So you want to learn stuff as much as possible so that you can prove these things without remembering everything, right? And that's how I kind of do sometimes, and you see it on my videos sometimes. Is that like even though I've solved problems, I don't remember them, and many times I solved them mostly the same way, maybe different variable name or something, right? So yeah, so definitely the sooner you learn it correctly, the easier it gets. Anyway, the middle of the linked list is actually one that I don't remember that much, to be honest. But or rather, it's not that I don't remember. It's that like it doesn't come to me that much. Because for competitive programming, linked lists are almost never done because there's no really good way of testing them because there's so many ways to cheat. So people don't usually do them. But I would say I do remember this one because was it like a week ago or something with the shuffle sort or whatever of a linked list. That kind of reminded me. So it is on the back of my mind from recent times. So I do know this one. And the idea is, of course, with it goes by many algorithms, but the hair and the turquoise, the Freud algorithm maybe, and there are a couple of those slow pointer, fast pointers. Basically, have 2 pointers where one goes twice the speed of the other one, and when you are done, then the slower one would be at half of the first one, which is of course the middle of the linked list. And of course, you have to be a little bit careful because for odd nodes that makes sense. For even nodes, it depends how they define it, right? In this case, they want you to return the second one, but you can also easily see that they do not, or they just ask you to return the first middle one, right? So whatever it is, it's fine. And I would also say that for these problems, try to do it with the linked list as much as you can. I mean, yeah, you get AC with converting it to an array or something like that, and then return it or something like that, right? Like that's fine, but at the end, you're just cheating yourself, right? Like know what you're learning, know what you're practicing, figure out your goals, and if you don't think this is a good goal for you, then that's fine. But as long as you're deliberate about it, as long as you're self-conscious about it, as long as you just or self-aware about it is what I mean, and not just do it because sometimes because if I I'm not gonna lie, if I see this problem on a contest for whatever reason, I will cheat and use an array instead, because it's just less error prone. But of course, for an interview, that wouldn't fly. I wouldn't expect that to fly because if they don't like there is an expectation, right? Or I'll be like, okay, that's great. Now do it without the array, right? And then then maybe you wish you practiced a little bit more. So yeah, okay. So I've talked quite a bit for this problem before even starting. Hopefully a lot of that context makes sense because this is a easy problem after all. So I really expect you to be familiar and good with it. Not necessarily for an interview per se, even by itself, because maybe it is a easy. So I think this is probably a little bit on the easy side. Not because it's easy per se, just because a lot of people do know it. Because it is, like I said, trivia at that point. But some problems do build on top of this, so that is why I say practice this. And also, linked list is just a good thing to practice on for interviews specifically. Okay, so with all that said, let's get started. The way that I like to do it is always have a new head, a sentinel value, so that we can kind of figure out. So that we have a pointer to the pointer. I find that is easier that way generally when you have a pointer to pointers and then modify the thing that you're pointing to instead of the itself. But some of that is just experience and what you're familiar with and what you're comfortable with more specifically. So yeah, so let's just say there's a fast pointer. It's you go to new head, and the slow pointer is you go to new head. Yeah, and then now we just go, wow, fast is not none. It may be fast on next, but we'll see. But fast is you go to fast on next. If fast is not none, fast is you go to fast on next. Slow is you go to slow down next, right? And of course, the precondition is that this moves twice as fast, so this can only happen once anyway, no matter what. Or rather, this will never be, like slow will never be none. Unless there's literally like 0 nodes, maybe. Yeah. So maybe not even, to be honest, because then in that case, I don't know. But yeah. And then now we just return slow, and that's pretty much it. Except for maybe, like I said, the middle rounding, quote unquote, the rounding thing. So that's kind of test it so we know. There's really only one case like this one, and maybe this one if. But it's easy to write small test cases because we know what the answer should be. So let's write them and kind of see. And luckily for us, it seems good. So yeah, I mean, then I have no complaints and 0 notes is not in there. So let's give it a submit. And yep, let's go. 637 days, and that's pretty much all we have. Of course, this is going to be linear time, constant space. You can see why. If not, let me know in the comments below. Let's see what I did last time. Yep, okay. Yeah. Pretty much wrote the same code. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have, really. I don't think, I mean, I've said everything before I did the coding on this one. So yeah, let me know what you think. Stay good, stay healthy to good mental health. 3 more days to the end of the year. So yeah, let me know what your New Year plans is maybe. Yeah. Okay, see you later. Bye-bye.